I'm Jim Sinocchi. I'm head of the Office of Disability Inclusion, which is a firm-wide role at JPMorgan Chase. What I want to do is make sure that we deliver accommodations as seamlessly as possible at the firm. With unemployment rate for people with disabilities around 36%, we have a lot of work to do. And I imagine we have the same kind of work to do in all the regions where we house our banks and other buildings and our people. And so we want to make sure that we give them the right accommodations at the right time, that we have fair and equitable recruiting practices to bring folks on board. What I talk about here is the 4 A's. So we're talking about attitude, accessibility, accommodations, and assimilation. And I'll just briefly go through them. Attitude means basically, how do you feel about a person with a disability when you work with them? Are you afraid? Are you nervous? Or can you engage with people as normal working people? On the other side of that fence is people with disabilities. Do they have the right attitude to work in a corporation, to work in a business, and contribute to the business of the business? Regarding accessibility, we talk about web access. Are screen readers in the system? Can people access screen readers? Do you have voice technology? If you have a hard time typing, can you speak into your computer and type your work? Can you access Excel sheets or other documents, PowerPoint, etc.? Can you use the telephones with ease? Those are all the things we look at when we talk about technology and accessibility. When we talk about accommodations, if employees don't have accommodations to do their job, they can't work at an equivalent level the way able-bodied people work. So for example, when I first joined the firm 2 years ago, I brought in my own accommodation. So if you take a look at my desktop over here, I have 2 screens, I have voice-activated software, and I also have my old IBM keyboard, because I used to work for IBM for 30 years. And this is a clicky keyboard. So for example, when I type, I could hear the keys click as I type and use my trackball mouse. When I get tired, I pick up my headset, put it on, and I do voice. This is about the accommodation that I need, but other people need screen readers or automatic doors. How do you provide phones that deaf people can use? For example, at our firm, we built a whole team around this where captioners work inside of our headquarters and can deliver captioning services technically around the world. We just started that last year and it's taking off like gangbusters. And the accuracy rate of our captioners is up above 99% in terms of typing what people are talking about and distributing that worldwide to our deaf people that are part of our organizations. So the 4th A is assimilation. The culture assimilates everyone who is different. So whether you're Black, Hispanic, a woman, Asian, etc., or a person with a disability, you have a place at the firm. You could succeed here, you can advance here, you could work here.
I have a disability and I'm able to come to JPMorgan. Some days I come into the office and I'm completely fine, but there are good days and there are bad days, and it's important for my manager to understand that, and he does. So this is also very helpful.
So what you just saw was a clip regarding our disability dialogue videos. And what that was meant to do is make people feel comfortable about folks talking about their disabilities with executives. And the point is to ask questions about a person with a disability that other people are afraid to ask. And when we can get to that point in talking about what we do here at the firm, people start to share their experiences, and then people who don't have a disability get a better understanding of what it takes to work with a person with a disability. My job here at the firm as the head of disability inclusion is basically to make people comfortable in talking about their disabilities and identifying that they have a disability to people who don't know. Once we do that, we help change a culture that basically has, and this is regarding humankind all over the world, that has a visceral reaction when they meet a person with a disability. The point there is that we sometimes don't know what to say when we meet a person. We don't know what to do. And when I tell people, in terms of asking a question, ask them if they want a cup of coffee. Do they need help getting to their seat? we do everything we can to make this culture accessible and welcoming to a person with a disability. So I want to introduce you to a coworker I work with regarding our analysts. Hey, Carissa.
Hey, Jim.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Listen, I got your email regarding the classes again this year.
Yes.
I'm glad to see it. What's that all about again?
So our new global class of HR analysts is starting at the end of July, and we'd love to have you come back and talk, as you have in the past, about your diversity inclusion strategy.
Sure, that'd be great. So I'll go into some of the myths regarding hiring people with disabilities. A lot of times people think that companies, including us, may be hiring people just because they're disabled. And I need them to understand that we hire people because of their skills. It's not because we feel sorry for them or we have a compassion play, but they are qualified to work here. And that's important as they look at their careers going forward. So they know when they've advanced, they advance because of their skills and their presence in the company, not because they're disabled. Let's talk about it more. Do you want to go get a cup of coffee and we could figure out a plan?
Definitely.
All right.
Thank you.
Great.
Can you talk a little bit about the business case for hiring people with disabilities?
Sure. That's the reason why I'm here. First of all, people with disabilities are qualified to do these jobs. In terms of intellect, in terms of science, whatever their skills are, they have them. Secondly, because they're disabled, they're innovative thinkers. They got to work their way around issues that other people may not face. That takes some kind of thinking, whether you're deaf, blind, mobility impaired. And thirdly, like folks on the autism spectrum, people actually outperform able-bodied people in certain jobs. They just got better focus, better resiliency in terms of doing testing, etc. And some of those folks are getting promoted, upward mobility, which is great. So the business case is out there. It's not about charity. And that's why I think this firm is completely behind this for the business case. Then you could talk about the values part, our values of the firm and how we feel about our people that work here. So I think that's great. And when we have accommodations like automatic doors, that just makes life a whole lot easier. And this is not expensive accommodation.
And there's still some firms that don't even have them.
They don't even, and able-bodied people love these as well, by the way. So.
We do.
Yes, you do.
So once a person with disabilities comes in for an interview, what are some of the issues that they face?
Well, the issues we face going into an interview is whether or not a manager is prepared to do an interview. And I've got to say the managers have a critical role to play when it comes to these interviews. And I tell managers when I talk to them about this, I said, we basically hire people via a piece of paper. We all get bios for people with disabilities. And so when an able-bodied person comes in, they look at the qualifications and they can make a decision about whether to hire that person. And then I ask them in the room, why is it that when a person with a disability comes in who hasn't identified their disability on a bio, why are they nervous and they think that that person can't do the job? And what I tell managers is, look, it's my 80-20 rule. 80% of what that employee has in terms of doing the job is why you call them in. You only have to teach the able-bodied person 20%. It's the same thing with a person with a disability. They have 80% of what you need because you call them in based on that bio. So why are you nervous? Matter of fact, they're probably more qualified because they've gotten to the interview on time, dressed up, beat all the challenges, and they have the skills you need. All they have to do is teach them the 20%. And once you get over that hump, we come into play with the office. We find out what accommodations they need, and we try to deliver them on day one. That's critical to getting people started as soon as they can on the job. And nothing ever goes smoothly, but we get really close and we're going to get better at it. And the employee is happy and the employer is happy. I think that's what we've done in 2 years.
Yeah, we're making improvements on that every day, right?
I think we are, yes.
When I found out that I received the full-time position, I was beyond excited. All my hard work that I put in, it finally paid off.
So how are we doing as a firm in supporting people with disabilities?
In 2 years since I got here, we're doing very well. Our recruiting programs are up. We're hiring people with disabilities around the world. The policy letter is out. The accommodations team is doing a great job in terms of delivering and supporting people with disabilities, even around the world. Our captioning program has taken place. So I think we've got some good mileage on this. The other thing that's good is that the folks with disabilities are identifying. They're coming out, they're talking about it, and managers are getting better as well.
It's a lot, just 2 years.
I think it is, yeah. I'm pretty excited about it.
Does the support for disability and inclusion come all the way from the top?
Yeah, it does. In my interviews, I interviewed with about 10 to 15 business leaders. When I got to the firm, I was onboarded with Jamie Dimon and all of his direct reports. And when I talked through my strategy with him, one of my requests was to do a policy letter. And when the letter was finished, he signed it along with the head of HR at the time, John Donnelly. Now it's, Robin Leopold. But it comes right from the top. He backs it 1,000%. And it's why we're doing so well at the firm.
Hi, my name is Medan, and I am deaf. I tried JPMorgan straight out of college 4 years ago. I am an app developer, part of the global team in Tampa. As the app developer, my role is to manage risk. Our application scans for specific words that could be the risk to the firm and the client. I work with the survey team to come up with a new solution that could fix the defects. I get to develop automated tools and new ideas for the teams. I love that part. JPMorgan is working on to help people with disabilities, which is why I plan to stick around.
I came in with a strategy that I believed in, but I had never executed it before. But after 30 years of disability, I kind of knew that this was magical, that this would work for this firm, and I think it has. I've used 3 of the strategies and added the 4th, and the 4th A was assimilation that we didn't have at IBM, nor did other companies have, and assimilation was the key. And what I've meant by that, and this is the key to the whole program, that the culture has to adapt to the people within it. The people don't have to adapt. They have to bring their whole selves to work, and we have to find a way to connect those points. Last year, we hired many people with disabilities around the world. We find them all over the world because they're finding us. Based on our publicity and the firm's values, they are looking for us, and I'm getting emails every day on LinkedIn, on job websites, etc. I'm getting calls from AP, Latin America, Mexico. They're saying, we know you hire. Jim, could you look at my bio? And the great thing is that people are talking, they're identifying their disabilities because they feel comfortable because we've put ourselves out there. We want to hire you if you have a disability, but, and the but is underlined, you have to be qualified. We are not hiring people just because they're disabled. That doesn't help anybody. People think I have like 100 jobs for people with disabilities. I don't have any. They go through our recruiting process. And when they call me, they have to go online like everybody else does and pick that job based on their qualifications. We hired more than 90 people on the autism spectrum. And our first disability day, which recruiting originated, we hired about 14 people out of 30 that applied on that day. I'm telling you, this stuff works. And the big thing is that you've got to get the leadership team behind this to do that. You've got to train your managers. You've got to develop an accommodations program. You've got to develop a budget because you have to make an investment to get the investment in your people that you want. And again, we are not lowering our standards. We're hiring qualified people with disabilities. And we're doing it with compassion, with respect, and they have to earn their way like anybody else.